Hello, in this episode I'm heading back to the planets, specifically Venus. While I'm talking I thought I would show you the video footage of the planet. I originally got into astronomy due to the planets. I love our nearest neighbours. They're great astronomical targets, being big and brilliant in the eyepiece, usually showing a lot of detail. I also find it completely fascinating that all these different worlds are accessible to us through a telescope. Venus is always one of the more difficult planets to see clearly, not because it is hard to find, it isn't, but because it's also low in the sky that atmospheric turbulence always affects the quality of the image. However, it will be one of the first astronomical objects to appear in the night sky after sunset. When viewing planets, what is visible at a particular time of year is always changing, so you'll need to check some astronomy software to see when Venus is visible in your part of the world. But when it is visible, it will always be visible in the western sky shortly after sunset. As Venus is only ever visible for a short period of time, I always advise setting up in advance to avoid a rush before Venus falls below another object along the horizon. Ordinarily, Venus is a rather bland target, being completely covered in white clouds that block out any surface features. So instead I plan to image the clouds of Venus. I have never done this before and I'm hoping it will work. For this session I did not use a focal reducer, instead viewing the planet at the full f10 focal length. I'm going to use a Raton 47 filter, this is a blue filter, that should enhance the clouds. However, blue light is more affected by atmospheric disturbance, so it will cause the image to flicker more, as you can see in the video. In fact, if you wanted to see it as still as possible, you would use a red filter. However, this will completely block out any of the cloud features. And when you do astronomy, ideally you want to see as much detail as possible. I even decided to change my capture software, instead going for fire capture rather than sharp cap. The main reason is because fire capture has the ability to auto guide on a planet, even without a guide scope. All you need is a cheap USB to SD4 cable and it'll do the rest, following the planet through the night sky. I was outside as soon as Venus became visible and managed to get a massive 22,000 images of the planet. I then ran this through PIP to crop and stabilise the image, as well as make this great video you're now seeing now. Finally, I took this footage and put it through AutoStack it and altered the wavelengths in Registacks to get this great image of Venus showing several clouds moving across the illuminated disk. Would you believe after those 22,000 images, only about 100 of the best images were used to create this final image? I am particularly proud of this though, as seeing any features on Venus is quite difficult. Well, that's all for another episode. Please comment if you've got any questions, like if you like the video, and subscribe for more astronomy videos. Goodbye and clear skies.